All right. Hello. Can everyone hear me? All right, great. We already got questions. All right. So, all right, how many juniors do we have? And how many seniors? And sophomores and freshmen. I'm assuming you're all high schoolers. And then how many of you have taken the SAT before? Took it once, piece. So, all right, so people have taken it 0 to 1 time. All right. I can remove this. It should be fixed, I believe. All right, there we go. Cardcast decided to disconnect my mic. There we go. All right, let me open up my slides. I've got some slides. We're going to go over 5 topics today. We're going to go over probability. We're going to go over some exponential linear growth because those are one of the most common things you'll see on the SAT. I should explain more about me. So I have done. I'll link them in the chat. So with this, we're going to do exponential linear growth. We'll do some percentage. We'll do some exponential radicals because those are the most common questions you'll get on the SAT. I have done the SAT 2 times. So I did it in June and I did it in August. When I did it in August, I only got 1 wrong in math, but then the curve was not that great that time. So even if you got 1 wrong, you automatically got a 770 on that section, which wasn't the best. All right. I'm gonna share my screen here. Share screen. Select. Great. It should be. There we go. I'm screen sharing. See. All right. So you guys can see my screen now. I hope so. Click close message. So these are. And just know that when I'm in the slides that I will not be able to see the chat. So you'll see me pop back like this so I can see the chat and answer any questions that you guys have. All right. So when slides go, all right, so we're doing SAT math. Today is going to be day 1. So these are at Think Fiveable. We've got a Twitter, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. All right, so today on the 25th, we'll have SAT Math reading number 2. It should be at the same time. That's this Saturday. On the 28th, we'll do SAT reading. On the 29th is SAT writing and language review. That's 8 p.m. EST. And on Saturday the 2nd was the November SAT, which is the next time SAT. After that, it's December, and then the next SAT after that will be next year, March. And then these are the upcoming AP language streams. So on the 30th, you have October current events. And then on the 4th of November, you've got rhetorical analysis and body paragraphs, which is also will help you with the SAT essay. And on the 7th of November, you have the November article of the month. So I decided to have a little like warm up brain teaser, kind of like logic puzzle for everyone to get started. So you've got this lock, and you've tried these combinations. So you've tried 6, 8, 2, and you got 1 number is correct and in the correct position. When you tried 6, 4, 5, you got 1 is correct but in the wrong position. When you tried 206, 2 numbers are correct in the wrong positions. And when you tried 7, 3, 8, nothing was correct. And when you tried 7, 8, 0, 1 number is correct, but in the wrong position. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to try to figure it out. Once you get it, you can drop it off in the chat. And I'm going to go back here so you guys can see. And if I'm ever going too fast, just tell me and I'll slow down. Got it yet? Is it still here? No, okay. All right. Nope. All right. Nope and nope. So I'm going to probably mispronounce your name, Ashley. We're going to look at this. All right, so I've got 3 answers. Okay, Ashley I can't even say it. Bernard, I'm going to guess. It's probably saying wrong, sorry. So we're going to notice here, and we're going to see 7, 3, and 8, nothing's correct. So we can deduce that none of these are correct, meaning that 7 isn't in the answer. All right? Yes, so 260, let's see here. 260, we have this. One number is correct but in the wrong position, meaning that a 6 is either here, an 8 is either here, or 2 is either here. So that's something else you have to watch out. Yes, all right. We've none of these. Most of you guys have gotten 2 of the digits, the 6 and the 2. So I want you to look at this line right here. One number is correct but in the wrong position. I'll give you guys 1 more minute, and then I'll fully break this problem down and explain it. It's not 062. 062. So the people who are saying 062, you have to notice this, or like some relation of that. 2 numbers are correct but in the wrong position, meaning that one of these 3 numbers right over here are not in the final answer. All right. Last chance. Nope. Yes, sorry, Nina, because I only have 1 desktop. If I want to see the chat, and then if I want to show the slides, I have to keep switching, unfortunately. All right. Because I want to like keep up, like answer any questions. So that's why I have to keep doing that. Otherwise, my only other choice is not look at the chat at all, which wouldn't be beneficial, because then if you guys are stuck, then I can't help you. All right, so I'm going to start breaking this problem down. So I know that one of these 3 is correct, right, and in the correct position. Then I know that one of these is correct and one in the wrong position. So I notice that 6 and 6 are in the same spot. So I know that 6 can't be here, or in the 6 can't be in the final answer, because if 6 is correct and in the correct position, but in the wrong position here, and it's in the same spot here, then it's not in the final answer. I'll look here, 2 numbers are correct but in the wrong positions. So I automatically know that 6 isn't in here from before. So then I know that 2 and 0 are there, but they're in the wrong positions. Then I'll go to the next line, and I see that 7, 3, and 8, nothing is correct. So I can automatically take out this I can take out the 8 from here, so I know 8 is on here. And I can go to the bottom and see 7 and 8 are not there, so I know 0 is in there. So I know 0 is not in this spot, because it says here one number is correct in the wrong position. I know it's not 7 or 8 because of this line, right? And I know 0 is not in this line because it says 2 numbers are correct but in the wrong position, meaning if that means it must be in the first spot. So that leaves me with knowing that 2 is either in the second spot or the third spot. And I know 8's not in the answer at all from this line. So I can go to the top line and see that 2 is supposed to be in the third spot, meaning it's 0 something 2. Does everyone get that part so far? Right? Great. So we know it's 0 something 2. I go to this line right here. One number is correct but in the wrong position. So the first position is locked down. It's 0. We know that. We can't change it. We know the last position is locked down. It's 2. Right? So that leaves us the middle spot. That leaves us this middle spot. So if you take this 5, it can't be 4, because 4 can't move spots, meaning that would make this line correct. So that means it's 0, 5, 2, because 5 can be moved and gone into the middle slot. Yeah, there we go. So this is kind of like this is most of the like what the SAT is geared towards. It's not really about your content knowledge, especially like once you get to reading. But like it's not really about content knowledge. It's more about your logical thinking and how you can solve a problem. You really didn't need to know any actual math skills other than like you didn't need to understand like any formulas or anything or any like math tools. You just needed to like think about a problem logically. All right. So the SAT math test has two sections. We've got the no calculator section, which is 25 minutes. It has 20 questions. And 5 of these questions are student-produced responses. So student-produced response is so there are 15 multiple choice and 5 student produced responses. There are 15 multiple choice, say A, B, C, D. This is not, the ACT has A, B, C, D, E, while the SAT only has A, B, C, D. 5 student produced responses are basically their way of saying free response. So it could be any number that has 4 digits or 4 values. These 4 values include decimal points and slashes for division, or fractions, not really division, fractions, like 7/13. So it has to have a total of 4 digits. The other section is the calculator section. Generally, so when I took the test, I used a TI-84 plus CE. That's the calculator I used because that's the calculator I felt like it would be most versatile. Like, not only, it does cost about $100, so like it's a graphing calculator. It's the most versatile, not only because I don't only use it for the SAT, but then I can also use it when I'm taking other classes and in college in the future. That's why I picked that calculator. If you don't want to spend, this is also really slim and it's rechargeable, so that's why I picked that calculator. The TI-84 Plus is also pretty good, TI-84, and then the TI-83. So, that should say 55 minutes, not 5 minutes. It's 38 questions and is 8 student-produced responses. So let's go jump straight into exponent and radical laws. So these are radical laws that you should know, exponent laws, right? So anything to the first power is itself. I've got examples right over here. Anything to the 0th power is 1. These aren't going to be like their own question on the SAT. These first few, like these two, they're not going to be their own question in the SAT, but you might need these rules like in the middle or at the end of solving a problem, not like an entire problem. It won't be like, what is 3 to the 0th power? Then you've got, when you're multiplying two values with the same base, the exponents add, and when you're dividing, they subtract. And if you have a distribution like here, you're going to multiply them. So if they have the same base, then you're going to add or subtract. If you have x comma y, so this is just distribution. Same thing with division. And you have something to the negative power, you're going to have 1 over that value. I personally I've never seen this when I took the SAT twice, I never saw this rule coming into play, but you never know what College Board's going to put in there. And then third of all is anything to the fraction. So this is just an example. It's like a good example because if you don't get confused, is think something to the 1/2 is the square root of something. Here I'd put a cube root, but yeah. So something to the 1/2 is a square root of that. Something to the 1/3 is the cubic root, and so on and so forth. Does anyone have any questions on that? Yes, it makes more sense when you do it on. It's Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, and maybe some very basic pre-calc. And I'm talking about very basic. Great. Cool. And then what I'll do is when I finish, at the end, I'll go through all the ask a questions, and I can answer all your questions that you have. There we go. Okay, so we're going to do some practice questions. I would recommend you have a piece of paper and a pencil because on the real SAT, you'll have space to answer, like write out your work and answer your questions. So here are your questions. I've got A, B, C, D, E, F. So A is n cubed equals x, and n to the 4th equals 20x, and n is greater than 0. What's x? B is 4 to the 3rd, or 4 root 3 equals 3. Equals 3 root 3x? What is x? All right, and then C, we have x root x equals root 216. Let's solve for x there. And then a to the negative 1/2 is 3. So what's a? E, this might be a bit difficult, but then think back to the laws that we learned. When what's n when n equals 1 squared plus 1 to the 4th to 1 to the 6th plus 1 to the 8th plus 1 to the 10th, so on and so forth, till we get to 1 to the 50th. And then question F, we have 3 to the power of x equals 10. So what's 3 to the x minus 3? And then these are your 4 answer choices. That's an example of a multiple choice question you would probably get on the exam. I'm gonna slide on back. Yes, actually, yeah, that's true. Probability, it's really basic probability. We are going over probability today, but yeah. Probability, this is, yeah, basic probability, two-way tables, not really more advanced like z-scores and chi charts, which what you'll get into if you do AP stats or chi-squares charts. Zoom, no one has any questions. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to work on this. And then once you've got it, just drop done, and then I will go over the answers. And then if you want me to go, like, if you're stuck on something, just tell me, oh, can you explain this more in depth? And then I'll go over how to solve that question. I'll just be waiting here in the chat. Okay, not sure how to do A. All right, so A, okay, I'll just get started. A is not that difficult. So we know what n cubed to the, okay, so what's n cubed is basically n times n times n. So n to the fourth is n times n times n times n, correct? So if you let's think about it like this. Let's go to our exponent laws, right? I'll go back so you guys can see. Let's look at this rule right here. So 3 to the 7, or x to the m divided by x to the n equals x to the n. I can't talk to it. M minus n, and then we can also look at this rule. How just this? Okay, so we're gonna look at the division portion and how we subtract the powers, right? So, if we go here and we do n to the fourth over n to the third, right, equals n, correct? Correct? So, I think I figured it out. So, right, if we go n to the fourth, n to the third, right, we'll notice that we do 20, this becomes 20 divided by 20x divided by x equals n, correct? Did you get that part, how we got there? Great. So we know what n, so we know that then n equals 20, right? Because if I could, I can't draw on here. That's something I'd like to do in the future. Maybe I'll set it up so on Saturday stream that I can actually draw out and like show, like, work out the problems. So we know that n equals 20 here, correct? So we now know n cubed equals x. So you could, n cubed equals x. So if you take 20 and we put it to the cube power, what do you get? Correct, 800. All right, so that's how you do A. Do we have any other questions? Generally, on the SAT, this is like another tidbit. You'll notice that as you go on, the questions get more difficult. So you might notice a problem. If you notice in the middle or near the end, you have a problem that seems really easy. Go over it to make sure there's not something you're missing, that you would get it wrong, because that's something College Board will do. Like, you'll miss a step, or like it's something like small, but it actually will change the answer a lot. Okay, I misworded that. So yeah, so if you see an answer that's easy, right? If you see a question that seems really easy, go a bit more, because you might be solving for n while you're actually solving for x here, and you might make that mistake, because that's a mistake people do all the time. How do we do D and B? All right, so how radicals work, I'm going to assume, I don't know. If you know how radicals work, you know that when you take a radical out, right? So this is a square root. It has no like 3, 4, 5 here. So you know that it's a square root. So we can imagine there's a 2 here. So when we have a number inside of it, when we want to take values out, we take the square root of that value, correct? So if we want to bring them back in, we have to square those numbers instead of taking the square, because we took the square root out when we're coming out. So we want to know when I bring 4 in here, we have to square it, making it 16. So we get 16 times 3, which is 48. But then we can also look at the answer, see they only want root 3x, and they want x. They don't want root. They don't want the entire root. They want 3x. So we are solving for x. So our answer can be 16. We can save about a little bit of time, and every second counts, especially if you're having trouble with time. Does it answer how to do B? Yeah, okay, I'll just go through B. B is 16. All right, C, we have x to x root x equals root 216, right? So we'll do the exact same thing, and when we bring x in, we're going to have x cubed inside, because we have to square x, and x squared times x equals x cubed. So if we take the cubic root of 216, we'll get our answer to be 6. Everyone got C? And then I'll go back to B. Anyone need help with C? Did you all get it? Okay, I'll explain it. So, okay, I'll explain B because it's the exact same topic. So right now we're square rooting. We have a value. Let's imagine we have a value in here, and we have a square. We have the square root of that value, and we wanted to make it a radical. So when we made it a radical, we took out it's already a radical, depending on how you define it. So when we took it out, we had to take the square root of that value. So we had a value in here. We broke it down into 2 values, and we took it out. We had the 3 still in here because that can't be square rooted, and we were able to take out the 4 because we were able to square root whatever value was inside. And so if we want to bring it back in, all we have to do is square root it, because previously we took the square root, so now we just have to square it. So we bring it in, and we get 3 times 16 on the inside. So when we look at the answer, they want 3x. They want x, and they've already multiplied 3, so we don't have to do 3 times 16. We can say the answer is 16 and be done with it. Does that answer? Does everyone understand how to do question B? There we go. So we can bring the exact same concept in question C with x squared. So we know that if we want to bring this x, the outside x, in, we'll have to square it. So x squared times x is x cubed. So inside we have x cubed, and so we have the square root of x cubed equals the square root of 216. So then we know x cubed equals 216. And so what's the cubic root of 216? That's 6. All right, so did you guys get question C? All right, great. Let's go to question D now. So in question D, we have a to the negative 1/2 equals 3. So what is a? So we can go back to our rules, and we'll see that when we have something to the negative, we do 1 over. And we do something to the 1/3, for example, we take the cubic root. So we know we have to bring it 1 over. So it will be 1 over a to the 1/2, correct? Does everyone get that part? Great. So we have a over 1 over 1/2, which gives us 1 over 1 over the square root of a, right? Equals 3. So 1 over square root of a equals 3. That means then a must, what value of a gives us that answer? I'll give you guys a little bit of time. Just think about it. We have 1 over, here, let me write down here. 1 over a, which has been square rooted here. So we have 1 over sqrt, that's how you, a, equals 3. Equals 3. So what's the answer of a? So yeah, it won't be simple one-time rule. You have to use sometimes a conjunction of rules when you want to figure it out. Oop, I just gave away the answer. It's 1 over 9. 1 over 9, because we have to remember that we have a square root. It's not just 1 over a. All right, so the next problem is, what's n when n equals 1 squared plus 1 to the 4th plus 1 to the 6th plus 1 to the 8th? Let's think about it. What's 1 squared? Does anyone know what 1 squared is? Ash? Okay, 1 squared is 1. So what's 1 to the 4th? I'll go back over D. What's 1 to the 4th? What's 1 to the 100th? Still 1. So we're just adding 1 and to itself, and we're doing it 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, which is, we're going by 2, so that'd be 25 times. So we're just adding 1 25 times. Unless I miscounted, which I don't think I miscounted. Yeah, I didn't miscount. So we're just adding, it comes out to be 25. Did everyone get how to do E? All right, great. Let's go to question F. All right, F is the actually, I'll go to D, and I'm gonna give you more time to do F. F is something you would normally see on the SAT. It's an example of the normal, regular question you'd see on the SAT. So let's go to D. We go back to our rules, and we look at the bottom two rules. 1 over negative something, so 1 to the negative m equals 1 over x to the n. So we look here, and we have a to the negative 1/2, meaning the answer is 1 over a to the 1/2, because it's negative and we want to make that negative positive. So then we'll see, then we look at this rule right here. Anything to a fraction of a power is has to face a square root or cubic root. It has to get rooted, meaning we have we have a to the negative 1/2 becomes 1 over root a. So that equals 3. So what value of a when you put it to the negative 1/2 is 3, or what value of 1 over square root of a equals 3? The answer here would be 9. Or actually would be 1/9, because would be 1/9. So that's what a is. Did you get? No, it's 1/9 because it's negative. If we had it 9th, if it would just be 9 instead of 1/9 here, 1/9, then our answer would be, then we would get 1 over 3 equals 3, which isn't true, which is why we have to make it 1/9, so we can cancel out and bring our 3 to the top. Yeah. All right. So does anyone know how to do question F? Look here. No. Yeah, that's what happens when you plug in 1/9 into A, Annie. All right. We don't need to do any logs. It's just some thinking. Look at the exponent rules. All right. Did anyone get it? All right. Because that would be the case if we were only looking for x, but we're looking for 3 to the x minus 3. That makes it simpler. All right, we have a 10 over 27. Yep, all right, so one person's gotten it. So our answer is 10 over 27, because if we look at 3 to the x minus 3, we'll have this. So our answer becomes 3 to the x over 3 to the 3, right? So our answer is 3 to the x over 3 to the 3. Does everyone get that part? Does everyone understand? Okay, so we're going to look at our exponent rules. We look at our exponent rules, and we see this one, the subtraction right here. So x, remember, they have the same base. X to the m over x to the n equals x equals m minus n. So we can look at our question here. We have 3 to the x minus 3. So our x here, this is 3, this x right here. M is x, and n is 3. So we can turn this into 3 to the x over 3 to the 3. Does everyone get how to do that? There we go. So we know so we've solved 3 to the x over 3 to the 3. So does anyone know what 3 to the 3 is? Yeah, 3 to the 3 is 27. So we know our base is 27. I mean, we could choose this option immediately, but it's safe to double check because safe to continue because some of these answers might be simplified forms, right? So we have 3 to the x over 27. Now, did they give us 3 to the x? Yes, they did. They gave us 3 to the x right here. So we know 3 to the x is 10. So our answer is 10 over 27. Did everyone understand how to do question F? All right, we've got 1 yes, 2 yes. Yeah. All right, let's move forward. Great. So yeah, that's how the SAT is. It's not really, it's like more about logical thinking than you knowing rules and formulas. I mean, you know some formulas, but these are like the basic formulas of exponents. All right, these are the answers. One of them. All right, we're going over percent. So percent meaning a percent is out of 100. So something out of 100 is percented. If you are increasing by n%, if you're increasing n by x%, do n times 1 plus x. And if you're decreasing, do n times 1 minus x. Does everyone get that part? These two lines. I'll go over the examples. This might seem confusing at first, right? But we'll have some example, like we'll use this at least once. And this is another tip, right? So if you're doing any calculations with percent, assume 100, meaning like Tom wanted to buy a shirt that costed X dollars, but it was marked up 20%. But he had a discount coupon for 40% off. So how much percentage was how much percent off did Tom buy it? So we can assume here that X is 100 to make our calculation simple. Because what's X, which is 100 here, so what's 100 marked up 20%? Does anyone know what 100 marked up 20% is? Marked up, not marked down. Marking up is, so when you mark up something, let's say let's give an example of, let's give a shirt. So I don't know, what's a popular brand these days? Someone name a popular brand. Okay, Nike. Well, we'll talk about Nike shoes. So Nike made the shoes for $100. They made these shoes, all right? They put them, so the store wants to make some money off of it. So they'll sell the shoes from $120. So they can get $20 profit. I mean, it's not $20 because they have to pay for like the associates and like that, but they got $20 from it. So that's what marking up means when you bring it up. And then he had a discount for 40%. So if we assume X is 100 and we mark it up 20%, it's 120%. And now let's pretend this is the calculator section. I mean, it cannot be, and you can do it with that work, but you take your calculator, because this would most likely will be a calculator type question. You take your calculator, you punch in 120 times what? What are we going to multiply it by? Because we brought it down 40%. We're not going to multiply it by 0.4. We brought it down 0.4%. So we're going to bring this rule. N is 100. So we're going to do, and we're bringing n down. So this n is 120, sorry. So 120 times 1 minus 0.4 equals 0.6. Yes, so 72 is the answer. 1 minus 0.4, yeah, so our answer is 72. That's why when you do calculations, assume 100, because let's say this is a no calculator section, and it's not 20%, but it's something like 37.5. You can easily get to your first part of the answer quicker, which would save you a lot more time, and you don't have to write it down, try to figure it out. So let's go into our 3% questions. If you guys, you should maybe write down like the questions or the basic part of the question, so I can slide back and look at the chat. So I can slide back and look at the chat So if you want to if you take a little bit more time than other people, then if you write down like the main parts of the questions, like for A, you can put 3,200 and 15%, and increase. Then you can start working A. So if you just like write down the question, and I can go back look at the chat, so then you guys can continue writing while I look through the chat. That would be really helpful. All right. 6,800. All right, so people are solving A. And once you get through all of them, just press, just say done, and then we can go over them and go through the answers. All that good stuff. Is anyone taking the November SAT? Ooh, 1 person, 2 person, 3 people, 4. All right. Good luck. Best of luck. I'm going to be most likely taking the December one. But yeah. Hopefully the curve is good, unlike the August SAT. Is anyone who's taking November SAT? Is it their first SAT? First. Well, good luck. Second. No. All right. So yeah. So if it's your first SAT, just make sure you get there on time. So the SAT starts at 8. So I would try, like what I do is I will get there at 7:30 or aim to be there at 7:30. Because let's say there's traffic, you get there 7:35, you find your room. That will take time, especially if it's not your school. It will take time to get your room assignment, find where that room is, especially campuses that are larger. It will take more time. And then, my camera disappeared. It's not nice. Oh well. And then you have to go check in to make sure you have like nothing you're not supposed to. So try to get there to be on the school 30 minutes before the actual test that starts at A. Yep, we'll go right back. I'll give it a few more minutes. Question A is something really simple for it to be on the exam. Question B would most likely be on the no calculator, and question C would be something that would be on the calculator section of the exam. So, oh yes, the SAT is this weekend. I completely forgot. I know people who are taking it. Yeah, I'll go through them. I'm just giving everyone to take, if you're stuck on a problem, move on to the next one, because I want you guys to actually get practice trying to solve it yourself. Because if you just sit here and listen, right, and you're just here to hear my explanations, you're not going to learn a single thing. You go, oh wow, but within, I'll ask you a week later, you're not going to remember every single part of it. I think B is 20%. Right? Yes, I know people who are taking the ACT this weekend. I can't see. I'll go right back. I know people who are taking the ACT this weekend. I mean, I would assume people actually might come here for ACT. The thing with ACT is you have 5 answer choices instead of 4, like I said before. You have less time per question, and the questions are more complex, meaning you have to know matrices and a lot more content than your test is. You are being tested on more content than the SAT, like content from algebra 1 all the way to pre-calculus and a little bit of calculus. Actually, not really calculus, but pre-calculus. While the SAT, the content is stuff you learned from algebra 1 to geometry, and the ACT is more about knowing your formulas and actually doing it, compared to the SAT, which is more logic. And on the SAT, you get formulas for geometry formulas, area, volume. You get those formulas. On the ACT, you don't. C5. We'll find out. All right. Does anyone need more time to continue working on the questions? All right. say one more minute, and then I'll get started with A. All right, is that good? Let's see this. Yep. All right, I'm gonna say something. No one's answers, unless I'm mistaken, I believe, if I remember correctly what the answer was, no one has put B correct. All right, so let's just start. No one got B correct here in the chat. All right, now, no. All right, there we go. Okay, yeah, B is 25%, not 30. I'll get into that. All right, and then C, there we go. All right, so A is just 1.15 times 3,200, or 32,000, which gives us 36000. If we did 32000 times 1.15, 36800, sorry, got an 8. Oops. All right, B is 25%. So we're going to go back to our rules that we learned here with the, we stop moving slides, computer. All right, so we're going to go with the assume x is 100 thing. Right, so here x is 150. X is 150% larger than z. So let's pretend z is 100, meaning x is 150. And then we go y is 20% larger than z. So then if z is 100, because it's the same z, then y is 120. So if you do x, which is 150, divided by y, which is 120, then we know 1.25, meaning it's 25%. And I knew that I was going to get that charger warning, or a battery warning, and I've got a charger. 1 second. I'll go right back onto the slides. All right, I'm back. There we go. C is 5%, I believe. There we go. All right. So does anyone need me to explain B? All right. B. Oh, I just explained it. I'll go over it again. I just realized. All right. So we're going to do the x is 100, assume x is 100 rule, or tip, whatever you want to call it. So we know that we're calculating using z here, right? So we're going to put z for 100, meaning we get 50% larger than 100 is 150, and 20% larger than 100, 120. So we know how much x is, and we know how much y is. Did you get that part? All right. Does everyone get how to get that? Okay, great. So we know that x is 150, and we know y is 120. So if we divide them, we get 1.25, meaning which is 25% larger. Did that clarify it? Why do we divide them? Because we want to know that x is what percent larger than y. So that's what the question's asking. Because we want to know like the percentage difference. Or like, yeah, right? And you can also check your answer by doing 1.25 or like 25% larger than y. Y should get you 100, or like 25% larger than 120 should give you 150. So you can just double check your work, and then you can also try other values like take in just like take in once you know all your values x, y, z, and like the percentage difference, then it's much easier to calculate the differences. And if you have time to double check, then you can just quickly do that. All right, so we're going to do question C. Right? So our total price is, yes, this is obviously 36,800, but yes. She bought a doll at $105.82. She got it 10% off. So we're going to do that subtraction rule, and we can do 105.82 times 0.9, which is this value right here, right? We know that whatever this multiplied to, this times something gives us 100. Equals $100. So we can take this. We can take 100. We can divide it. And we can we take that previous value, which I didn't copy, which I thought I did, times 0.9. Copy this, and we take 100, we divide it because we want to know the percentage difference because that's x. 100. Come on, computer. There we go. Equals 1.050000, which gives us 5%, a 5% increase. No one's taught you this? All right. Well, then you're learning. No, because the question gave us it was 10% off right here. Susan bought a doll 10% off. And we're decreasing because it's percent off. So we do 1 minus x, which gives us 0.9. You could do, yeah. I mean, I learned this in school. So I learned this in middle school. All right. Why is it? Okay, so all right, here we go. We've got tips. We've got this tip. This is a personal tip from experience. And you know, if you have something from experience, it's really helpful. So, or actually that's this. But okay, we use that. Sorry. Well, that's true. That's true for this, but we're using this. We're decreasing, so we do n times 1 minus x. N is this. And we're buying it 10% off, and 1 minus 10% is 0.9. So that's why we use 0.9. Yeah. Did you figure that? Are you still confused on why we use it? Okay, there we go. You're in pre-calc. What are you learning in pre-calc right now? I'm just curious then. All right. While we wait, we can, yep, 800, 25%, and x equals 5 here. Exponential versus linear. Here I use the old amazing tool Desmos. I'm sure most of you have heard what Desmos, know what Desmos is, but then here we can use exponential versus linear. Is the blue line linear or exponential? I'm gonna ask you that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll drop it in the chat. Or isn't there? There's if you're a Fiveable Plus, I believe there's like the like stream resources. So I'll put it in there. I believe it's my first stream, so I'm not 100% sure on which that it goes into. So for now, I'll drop it in the chat, and then I'll do that at the end. I'll create a shared link. All right, so blue is linear, red is exponential. So we can look, this is a good basic. So if we have here, we have x to the power, so we have a common. Okay, so does anyone know does anyone know if linear uses a common difference or a common ratio, and if exponential uses a common difference or a common ratio? Does anyone know the difference of that? So what difference is linear? All right, so we have one person saying difference is linear. Yeah. Linear could mean ratio is exponential. Ratio is exponential. We have two people saying ratio is exponential, two people saying that. Linear means it's a straight line. I believe, I could be completely wrong, that once you get into higher math, you're going to find out that linear does not mean a straight line. Because otherwise, in school, they would teach us it's a straight line. They would teach us it's a straight line instead of saying it's a common difference, which is correct here. So linear is a common difference. There's a common difference between each increase in x for y, and here is a common ratio. Does anyone know the common difference for in this example problem? What's the common difference? I'll go back to it so you guys can look. What's the common difference? You don't have to look right here. You don't need to look at the graph because I've given you the equations. You got it? Yep, it's 1. All right, so what's the common ratio here? Let's look at these. So common difference and common ratio. I'll get into it. So I'll ask these because I don't want to give away the answer. But yes, I'll answer it. Why is it 1? The common difference is the same thing as slope. Exactly. Yeah. The common difference is between one point and the next point, like between x is 1 and x is 2. What's the difference? Like the difference between two values. Like, yeah, it's basically the same thing as slope. But that's for linear, common difference. A common ratio cannot have slope. I mean, once you get into calculus, you learn about common ratio slopes on tangent points. But anyway, go back to it. So, did anyone understand? Did anyone get the common ratio? I'm guessing. Anyone? You only learned it from a table? All right. So, okay, so this is a good baseline example. All right. So common difference, yes. So we have a y. I'm guessing do I need to explain do I need to explain the base? Okay, so I'll go. Slope would be in front of x, but if it's 1, there's nothing in front. So we know our slope is 1. Our common difference is 1. So it's mx plus b. B is our y-intercept. Here, it's b, which is 3. Because if we look, our y-intercept is 3. It's b times our common difference to the power of x. So our common difference is 2. So common differences, or sorry, common ratio, not common difference, when I was talking about this exponential right here. So when we take this value and we multiply it by 2, we get to our next value. That's the common ratio. We're multiplying it by the same value. We're multiplying it by the same value of 2. In common difference, we are adding that same value. Yes, there we go. This is, yeah, so that is why there are people, like very few, but there are people who manage to take the SAT and get perfects in 8th grade. Because it's basically your 8th grade, ninth grade concepts, but they're testing you in 11th with a bit more logic. All right, so all right, so let's say if our common difference was negative, then we would see it's going downward. All right. All right. Do we have it? All right, we have correlation problems. So I'm going to teach you guys correlation. It works in here, right? So we have two examples of positive correlation here. Because as x increases, y also increases. If we have negative correlation, as x increases, y is decreasing. So we've got five linear and exponential questions here. I took the graphs from cracksat.net. It's a really good site for practice tests, practice questions, and I did not want to make my own graphs. So I just borrowed their graph and then made my own questions from them. But yeah. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes. The first four should be really easy, and the fourth one will take a little bit of time. Yes. Can everyone see the graphs okay? I just want to make sure it's not too small or anything. I'll go back. I just want to make sure everyone can see the graphs okay. Yep, all right, great. All right. All right, so does everyone understand how to do A? For E with the question being some, I'll get into that. Everyone got A? All right. So I'll just go over pretty simple. With strongest positive correlation, this will go over A, B, C, D. All right, so we go here. I don't see any positive slopes or negative slopes. So I don't see any association here. So that means C is A. I mean, if you can barely see the A, B, C, D here, or the first one. We go here. Okay, we've got some pretty good negative correlation. All right. So, all right, we've got some small positive correlation. And here we've got the strongest positive correlation. So A is D, B is B, and C is A. Anyone not understand the first three problems? All right. Nope. What did you not understand about it? I'll go over it again. All right. So do you know what positive correlation is? There goes okay. No, you got it? Or no, you didn't got it? I'm kind of confused now. Okay. You got it? Sorry, that's what I meant. Does not. I'm gonna assume. Okay, great. What did you guys get for D? So I go to the library. Every day, I can turn in 2 books, and I get 1 book back. What's the relationship here? Is it linear? Is it, okay, and we've got, yes, that is negative. But let's think more. Is it linear or is it exponential? Correct, it's linear. Yes, it's linear. It's not exponential. And this is one of those questions College Board will put in, and lots of people will get wrong because they got confused and put exponential. So we have to think about it. Yes, negative by 1. We put in 2 books and we get 1. So we have a constant output. Yeah, it has a constant ratio of -1 books on the amount of books I have. Yes, yeah. If it was something like every 2 books I turned in, I got 1 back. But the next time it was 3 books I turned in and got 1 back. And the time after that, 4 books I turned in, 1 I got back. Then it would be exponential. Great. All right. And then question E. The population of trees in a forest decreases by 6% every 4 years. In 2000, the population was 14,000. Create an equation that gives the population of trees over time. I want everyone to, does anyone, if they have an answer, drop it in the chat. Let's see what people have gotten. We had 1 response before that gave us this. All right. Anyone else? All right, we've got 1 person saying that. All right, let's go back. All right, so A, B, C, D, that's E. We can replace 1 with, yeah, the 1 with X, and that's the amount of years. That would be what you would see on an exam if you replace 1 with X, but Google Slides did not like me putting X over 4. Yeah, you did 60%, not, yes, you did 60%, but yeah, there we go. Also, you don't need to put the negative. So how you put negative 0.04, that would give you a graph that looks a lot different than what you would expect. It would look either like, sorry, it would look like that. So this common ratio is positive. Sorry, no. The common ratio has to be positive, otherwise it goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's not what you expect. Right? So we subtract 4. 14, so we do our starting with our y-intercept at 2,000, because that's our y-intercept. We have 14,000, right? Then we do the 1 minus, remember that formula from long ago when we were learning percent? 1 minus the value that we're decreasing by 6. And then we take that to the 1 to the 4th. So we are 1/4 because we're doing every 4 years here. So it's t over 4, which we're doing here. Did everyone get how to do E, or should I explain it again? Got 1, yes. I'm going to zoom. That no one else is saying yes. All right, a bit more. Can you explain what do you not get about it? Let's see. What do you not understand? What's the base? Okay, so base equation. So base equation is the base. Okay, so a base equation for this would be is the y-intercept times the common ratio to the power of x. All right. So we have our y-intercept. If they give you a year, a base year, generally that ends in a 0, like 2000, 2005, 2010. And generally, those are your starting values. Your starting value is your y-intercept when you got your first measurement. So that's 14,000. And then we bring that rule from when I went over percentages, and we get 0.94 because we got 1 over 6%, which is 0.06. And we learn it decreases every 4 years. So we have to do, here it's 1 over t over 4. Because every 4 years you are decreasing by 6%, not every year you are decreasing by 4%. So the base equation is just basically where you can fill in the blanks, I would call it. So it's or the model equation. Yes. Did everyone get it now? Got 91 people. There we go. All right. Probability. I believe, if I'm mistaken. Yep. So that's our last topic for today. We're doing probability. Probability is the number in the target outcomes divided by the total number of questions. And most of the probability questions are on the SAT have a data table. Generally, unless the numbers are very simple, probability questions will be in the calculator section because you'll be calculating with percentages. If the numbers are pretty simple, then it'll most likely be in the no calculator section. So let's go dive straight into probability. This is where there's a lot more logic than knowledge here. If you just know this basic thing, probability is the number of total outcomes divided by this. This is all you need to know for probability. The rest of it's logic here. So we've got these cars. These are the cars in a parking lot, for example. Notice how they did not give you the silver percentage. Right? These are the only types of cars there are. So there are only red, blue, black, white, and silver cars in a parking lot. Now, if a car is chosen at random, the car what's the probability that the car is red or silver? No, actually, your computer is not dead. It is out of bad power, or either running low power or out of power. It still works, and it can't be alive because it's an inanimate object. All right. Because once you figure it out, you can either drop, "Oh, I'm done," or if you want to drop the answer, but then that means the other people who are listening to the stream I'll call it degrade. It's not a good term. I'll call it degrade their learning experience because they don't get to practice problems. The best way to get good on the math essay, the best way to prepare for the SAT, not just math, not just the writing, not just reading, or the ACT, or any test, is by practicing questions. Not reading how to do questions or listening how to do questions. If you don't understand a concept, you can listen and read, but then you don't just say, "Oh, I know how to do this topic now." You have to actually practice, otherwise it doesn't work. This is something I've learned from experience. All right, so I've got 23%, 43%. Yeah, 43%. Correct. So it's red or silver. This is something this is an exact example of a question that was on the PSAT if you took the PSAT this year. If you took the Wednesday, the 12th, I believe, I could be mistaken, might be the 13th, something around there. If you took that PSAT this year, this is a perfect example of something you'll see, which means they'll be on the SAT also, right? So we know that this is out of 100, meaning 20 plus 33 plus 10 plus 14 plus whatever this is equals 100. So we can figure out what's in here, which is all right. So we know that this value plus this value equals our answer, which is 43%. Did everyone figure out how to do that? Anyone confused? Great. Final question for today. So this is a store, right? I don't know, like, what's a good name? Okay, let's pretend this is Mattress Firm. I remember hearing Mattress Firm somewhere, so I'm guessing it's a mattress company, right? So let's pretend this is the amount of mattresses they sold in a month. All right, or let's think about the SAT. They're gonna do something like Bed Firm. They're not gonna say they're not gonna call it a real company, but they'll make it a play on words. If you look carefully, you'll see some nice play on words on there. It's the only thing. It's like the only thing fun about the SAT. Looking for those. All right, so we have this two-way table, and we want to know, out of all of their total selling this month, these are the box spring the amount of box spring mattresses and the regular like the box springs they sold, the mattresses they sold. Weeks 2 and 3 accounted to what fraction of the whole? Once you get it, just drop that you got it on the chart, down in the chat. Don't spoil the answer for this one, because there are a few people who I know, I'm guessing at least one, will get, one of you will, I'll have to go over it, and it's easier when you don't get the answer. So, please. All right. If you need me to go back, just tell me in the chat. Can you see the table? There you go. Done. One done. Do you want me to go back? Done. See if I can get 2 more dones. I'll go over it. If you're stuck, just tell me you're stuck, and I can go over it. Because I'm assuming right now, because no one's saying they're stuck, that no one is stuck, and you've all gotten the correct answer. Or what you believe is the correct answer, I should say. Hopefully. We've got 2 questions. Remember, you have this question bar right here. If you have any questions, just drop it in the questions. And don't forget, this Saturday, same time, Math SAT Part 2. I mean, if I really wanted, I could go on. I could teach a lot, but it would take a lot of time, and it would be a really long series. But if you want that series to happen, just I'll make a poll about it. I'll make a poll when we're closing up. All right, drop your answers. Let's see what you guys got. Don't be shy. All right, 40%, 6 over 15, 40%, 40%. All right, the answer is 2 over 5, which is 40%. So yeah, it's 2 over 5, not 6 over 15. I think it got you. It's the fraction. I want to know if you calculated with mattresses included or only the box spring, because they want only box spring. That's something College Board will do. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go over this problem. So we know that this value plus here. So let's try to fill in the gaps. We know this value plus this value equals 88. So this must be 20. This value, all right, so now we know what 20 is here, right? And we also know that this value plus this value equals here, so this is 22. And so we know what all these values are, we can add it up here. So we can fill in this entire box, right? So we know this is 20, and we know this is 60. So we do 20, sorry, this is 40, so we know our total is 60, and we can add it up here. I'll add it up, 35 plus 40 plus 20 plus 55 equals 150. And we know this is 60. So if we do 60 by 150, it's 0.4, or 2/5. Because we're not talking about total in general. We're only talking about fraction of all box spring mattresses sold. Oh, I'm done. Yes, I should have caught that. For some reason, I was thinking 6 over 13. Yes. So yeah, that's something, So if this was a student choice response question, which I was talking about earlier, I think that they would mark you down for that. So yes, leave it in the simplest form you can give. All right. That's my presentation for today. All right. All right. So if you have any questions, drop it in the questions. I'm going to be answering your questions right now. All right, and then I'm going to make a poll. Don't forget, this is not the only SAT math. We also have SAT writing, SAT reading next week, and then we also have SAT essay coming up. And was this a good time for everyone in case we do like a part 3 or a part 4? Was this a good time? Would you want to make it earlier, later? Earlier? All right. And then if you like weekends or weekdays, I should edit that. Yes. Weekends, weekdays, weekends. All right. Ooh, a lot of weekdays. Remember, this weekend is this time is weekends. I'm guessing it doesn't like to use my camera. All right, you have 2 minutes. Yeah, weekends, weekdays. There's a lot of weekdays. There's a few. Okay, let's see. You have too much homework on the weekends. I agree with that. So we'll see. I'm assuming most of you guys are Eastern Standard, Central Standard, and then a few Mountain Time. Not really a lot of Pacific Time. Yeah, there we go. That's the problem with this, because I'm Eastern. Sorry, I'm Pacific. So I'm on the opposite side of the U.S. So we'll try to figure out a timing that'll work for everyone. Ooh, we've got a Pacific. Hey. All right, we've got 2 questions. So the most helpful strategies. So let's start answering. Start answering the question. What are the most helpful strategies when tackling these math sections? Can you talk into depth on how and when they could apply? So the most helpful strategies, I mean, I could go and talk about an hour into this, but I'll recap it. So you should double check your questions, you double check your answers with, or like if it has any problem where there aren't givens, like make up givens like that are possible and fit the situation, like we did with the $1 rule for cents. Make up givens to fit them, so that will make your calculations easier. All right. So that's another thing. So that's another thing. You need a bit of logic. So think about your questions logically. Take tests. Know what you get wrong. Practice more of those questions because that would help you out. I believe that's a lot. I mean, it's the quick in-depth. I don't want to. That's the most helpful for like know your radical rules. So like that's for the stuff we learned. I mean, there are a few good books, practice books, test books out there. I would recommend College Panda. College Panda is good, and then UWorld is good for doing practicing questions. So yeah, so your strategies are think about a question logically. I mean, each person is different. If you have givens that are not given, try to make as much information that's not known to. Okay, so I see that Khan Academy thing. Now, here's the problem with Khan Academy. Khan Academy, the tests, there's no point. Okay, the tests are the same as the College Board tests. I'll get into the College Board test in a bit. But Khan Academy is not really the best. It's great. It's a good, helpful tool, but it's not one of the best because it's built by College Board. And College Board wants you to take the test as many times as you can because they want as much money as they can from you. That's my opinion. I mean, people can say the exact opposite. I'm going to tell my opinion, right? I mean, so that's what I've heard. So I suggest College Panda and UWorld. UWorld is good. UWorld, they do a lot of stuff. Like they do what, like networking, taxes, but they also do SAT questions. They have a really good large question bank. And then College Panda is good for math. I know one for reading, but I can't remember it from the top of my head. All right, so that's it. So just think about your questions logically when they apply. That's just stuff we learned today. There's probably a lot of stuff I'm forgetting, and I'll remember right as I end the stream. College Panda's 10 practice tests and advanced guide and workbook. College Panda, and then that's the books. If you're talking about practice books by questions, then College Panda has like a 10 test booklet that are just math section tests that are good, and then UWorld also has good math. UWorld is only practice. You can review your answers and stuff, but if you want content-wise, then the SAT Math Advanced Guide and Workbook. What did I get on my SAT? So I've done the SAT twice. All right, so the SAT I've done it twice. I did it in June. I'm planning to do it third time, I said. So the SAT I did in June. I did really bad. I got a 1380. And then the SAT in August, I bombed reading, which is why I'm not teaching reading and writing. But then I got a 1 wrong on math, and I got a 1430. I'm not the best on reading and writing. All right? Done answering that. So what most people get wrong on the math questions on this. Okay, I'm trying to get a 1510 plus. So, I still have a lot of work to do. Still thanks. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to get to. All right. Question. Really bad. It's the mindset you're in, and what you're comparing it to, who you compare it to. All right. I'm going to go over questions people get wrong in math SAT. So, College Board doesn't release the questions or they don't release any info. You just know the curve. So it's not possible to know what people get wrong on the math portion. So that's what I'm saying. You don't know. You might be different than other people. You might be really good in one thing and then know really bad in one thing. So that's what I'm saying. Take practice tests and see what you get wrong in, and then practice those types of questions. Yeah, they're not going to, because because they've most likely reused tests. Like last year, August, they reused the international June exam, and there was a whole controversy with that. So you have to be really careful with, they reuse questions, reuse tests. That's what they don't tell you. All right. Any other questions? Oh, yes, the college board. Any other questions? It's last chance. All right. Anything you want me to talk about SAT, school, my opinions on College Board? I don't know. College Board in general, school, AP exams? Nothing? How's the AP exams? Okay. What's the topics? Oh, okay. Here comes everything. All right. So I have not made the slideshow. Like, I have a list of topics of what I want to teach, but I have too much to fit in the time period given. Like, I could stream the entire Saturday. But I don't think people want to listen to a stream from like 8 in the morning to 8 in the night, 12 hours of math. And I don't think I have the energy to do that. So I'm going to probably teach proportion rates. Those are some of the questions I personally get the most confused about. And I know a lot of people get most confused about those. So that's something to touch up on. Let's see what else. We've got, quadratics, synthetic division, angles, so triangles, circles, trigonometry, and then statistics. So those are topics that I'm thinking about. I'm going to put as much as I can in the stream time that I like, in like the amount of like the usual stream time, which is about an hour. I mean, we're at 90 minutes so far. So I'll try to fit as much as I can in the stream, but we'll see. So that's like some of the most, these are the most amount of questions I know people have gotten wrong. I personally have gotten wrong. that like the most confusing questions on the test, like what are the hardest questions on the test are these. Hasn't really studied. All right, take a practice exam. All right, take the practice exam. Know what you got wrong. Practice those. You gotta grind. Like this is like no, you have like if you're doing the SAT, you have to grind right now. So take a practice test. Right, let's say this. Tomorrow, come home from school. Take a practice test. Know what you got wrong. Get at least, let's say this. 10 topics you have to work on. In 5 topics you need to work on math. 2 grammar topics. I mean, this is